I believed my life was finally becoming stable. For years, I had worked overtime, skipped vacations, and ignored every temptation to spend money on myself. Every extra dollar went into savings. Every plan pointed toward one goal. Mia. The afternoon I bought the ring, my hands actually shook. The jeweler smiled and asked, "First time buying an engagement ring?" I laughed nervously. "Is it that obvious?" "A little." "Then I guess I'm guilty." He placed the ring box in front of me. "Beautiful choice." I opened it and stared at the small diamond. It was not the biggest ring in the store. It was simply the best ring I could afford after nearly 2 years of saving. To me, it looked perfect. I whispered, "She's going to love it." "Sounds like a lucky woman," he said. I hoped he was right. That evening, I met Mia for dinner. She smiled when she saw me. "Long day?" she asked. "The longest." "You work too much." "I'm doing it for our future." Her smile stayed in place, but something felt different. "Ethan," she said, "have you ever thought about wanting more?" "More what?" "More money. More success. A bigger life." I laughed. "Every day." "I'm serious." "So am I. That's why I work." She looked away. "I just don't want us struggling forever." The comment stung. "We're not struggling. We live in a tiny apartment. It's temporary. You drive a car older than my sister. It still works." She sighed. "Forget it." I forced a smile, but the conversation stayed with me all night. Over the next few weeks, those comments became more common. "Look at that house. Did you see that car?" Some people really know how to live. Every time she said something like that, I felt like she was comparing me to someone. I just did not want to admit who. A few days later, my family gathered for dinner at Uncle Robert's house. The moment I arrived, I knew Adrian would become the center of attention. He always did. As if on cue, a sleek black luxury car rolled into the driveway. Adrian stepped out wearing an expensive suit. Uncle Robert grinned. "There's my son." Adrian tossed him the keys. "Take a look." My uncle whistled. "You bought it already?" "Cash." "Impressive." Everyone crowded around him. I stayed near the door. Mia walked past me. "Wow," she said softly. I followed her gaze. She was looking at Adrian. Not the car. Adrian. Something twisted inside my chest. At dinner, Adrian talked about investments, business deals, and luxury resorts. People hung on every word. Then he looked at me. "How's work, cousin?" "Busy." That's one way to describe it. I knew what he meant. Busy but not wealthy. Busy but not successful enough. Mia laughed at one of his jokes. I noticed. I wished I had not. After dinner, I stepped outside for some air. The night was cool. Then I heard voices near the side garden. Mia and Sophie. I was about to walk over when Mia spoke. "Love isn't enough." I froze. Sophie sounded surprised. "What do you mean?" "I mean exactly that. You love Ethan." "I do." "Then what's the problem?" "The future." My stomach tightened. Sophie asked, "What future?" Mia hesitated. "A man needs more than a good heart." "That sounds unfair." "It sounds realistic." "He works hard." "I know." "Then why are you talking like this?" "Because hard work doesn't guarantee anything." I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. Sophie lowered her voice. "Are you comparing him to Adrian?" Mia did not answer immediately. That silence told me everything. Finally, she said, "Sometimes I wonder what life could be like." I could not listen anymore. I walked away before they saw me. Back inside, I forced myself to smile. I shook hands. I made small talk. I pretended nothing had happened. But my heart felt cracked. When Mia drove home with me, she asked, "Are you okay?" "Why? You seem quiet." "Just tired." She nodded. I hated lying. I hated that I was afraid of the truth. The next week became strange. Mia canceled plans twice. Then 3 times. She answered messages hours later. Sometimes not at all. When I asked about it, she always had an explanation. Work. Family. Stress. I wanted to trust her. Trust had always been my weakness. One afternoon, I sat at my desk when my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Hello." A cheerful voice replied, "Hi, Adrian. Daniel Price speaking." I frowned. "You have the wrong number." There was a pause. "Oh, sorry." I almost ended the call. Then he continued. "Before you go, I just wanted to confirm tomorrow's details for Mia and Adrian's engagement party." Everything inside me stopped. "What did you say?" Mia and Adrian's engagement party." My grip tightened around the phone. "I think you definitely have the wrong number." The man sounded confused. "I'm sorry." The call ended. I stared at the screen. My breathing became shallow. Engagement party. Mia? Adrian. The words repeated endlessly. I told myself there had to be another explanation. A misunderstanding. A mistake. Anything. But deep down, I already knew. That night, I opened my drawer and removed the small velvet box. The ring rested exactly where I had left it. I opened the lid. The diamond reflected the light. For weeks, that ring had represented hope. A future. A family. A promise. Now it felt like evidence. I sat alone on the edge of my bed. My phone remained silent. No message from Mia. No explanation. No reassurance. Just silence. I stared at the ring and whispered, "Please tell me I'm wrong." The room offered no answer. For the first time, I allowed myself to imagine the possibility I had been avoiding. Maybe the woman I planned to marry was already planning to marry my cousin. And maybe I was the last person who knew. The ring suddenly felt heavier than my entire future. I called Mia 3 times before she answered. "Ethan." Her voice was soft, almost sleepy. "Where were you yesterday?" "At home." "With Adrian?" Silence filled the line. I closed my eyes. "Mia, don't lie to me." "What are you talking about?" "Daniel Price called me. He said something about an engagement party." I said, "Your engagement party? With Adrian?" She started crying before I finished. "Ethan, no. No, you misunderstood." "Then explain it." "It was supposed to be a surprise." "A surprise engagement party with my cousin?" "No. I mean, yes, but not like that." "Mia, please listen to me," she begged. "Adrian knows people. He was helping me plan something special for us. Daniel must have mixed up the names." "Why would Daniel say Mia and Adrian?" "Because Adrian booked the venue." "For me?" "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it was a surprise." "I know how it sounds. I know I've been distant, but I was stressed. I wanted to give you one beautiful night where you didn't worry about money." That hit the weakest part of me. "Do you swear?" I asked. "I swear." "Do you love me?" "Of course I love you." I held the phone tighter. "Then say Adrian means nothing." She paused for half a second. Only half. But I heard it. "He means nothing," she said. I should have walked away then. Instead, I believed her. The next morning, Noah came to my apartment with coffee and suspicion on his face. "You look terrible," he said. "Thanks. I'm serious." "What happened?" I told him everything. He stared at me like I had handed him a knife and asked him to smile. "Ethan," he said, "you cannot be this blind." She explained it. "No," she performed. "You don't know her." "I know people." She cried. "People cry when they're guilty too." I looked away. Noah lowered his voice. "Love should not make you stupid." "I'm not stupid." "Then stop acting like pain is proof of loyalty." His words angered me because they sounded true. I stood up. "I'm going to handle it." "How?" "By trusting her until I have proof." He shook his head. "You already have proof. You just hate what it says." An envelope arrived. Inside was a formal invitation. Private family celebration. Hosted by Robert and Helen Cole. Saturday, 7 o'clock. Uncle Robert's mansion. I called Mia. "Did you get an invitation?" I asked. "Yes." "What is this about?" "You'll see." "Mia, please come, Ethan." "Will Adrian be there?" "Yes." "Of course." "Don't start." "I'm not starting anything. I'm asking. Just come." Saturday night, I stood outside Uncle Robert's mansion. Expensive cars lined the driveway. Inside, everyone smiled. Aunt Helen touched my arm. "Ethan, you came. Was I not supposed to?" Her eyes softened. "I'm glad you're here." That answer made my stomach sink. Uncle Robert stood near the fireplace. Adrian stood beside him. Mia stood near Adrian. Too near. I walked toward her. "Mia." "Ethan, why are you standing there?" She swallowed. "Please don't make this harder." "What does that mean?" Adrian stepped forward. "Maybe wait for the announcement, cousin." I looked at him. "Move." He smiled. "Still emotional, I see." Uncle Robert tapped a glass with a spoon. The room quieted. "Thank you all for coming," he said. "Tonight is about family, future, and wise choices." My chest tightened. Uncle Robert continued. "It gives me great pleasure to announce that my son Adrian and Mia Carter are officially together." The room applauded. My world stopped. But everything sounded underwater. Mia whispered, "Ethan, I'm sorry." I turned to her slowly. "Officially together?" Her lips trembled. "I didn't want it to happen like this." "Like this?" I asked. "You didn't want me to find out in front of everyone?" Adrian chuckled. "Don't make a scene." I looked at him. "Was this fun for you?" "Don't take it personally, cousin." She chose stability. The word stability felt like a slap. Mia grabbed my sleeve. "Ethan, please." I pulled my arm back. You told me he meant nothing. I was scared. Of me. Of being poor forever. The room became silent. Even Adrian stopped smiling. I nodded slowly. So that's what I was to you? No, she cried. You were good to me. But not enough. I looked at Uncle Robert. Did everyone know? He adjusted his cuff. Some choices are painful, but necessary. Aunt Helen looked down. I refused to fall. Adrian leaned closer. You'll find someone more your level. I smiled. Because if I did not smile, I might break. Congratulations, I said. Mia blinked. Adrian frowned. I held his gaze and added, welcome to the family. The words landed harder than I expected. Adrian's smile disappeared. Mia's face went pale. Uncle Robert's eyes narrowed. I hope you all enjoy the celebration. Mia stepped toward me. Ethan, wait. I shook my head. You already left me. I'm just catching up. Adrian whispered. Let him go. I turned back. For the record, Adrian, you didn't win love. You bought doubt. His jaw tightened. Then I walked out. My hands shook, but I kept walking. When I reached my car, I sat behind the wheel and stared at the mansion. I saw Mia watching me. Maybe she expected me to shout. Maybe she expected me to beg. Maybe she expected me to die in front of her. I started the engine. My pride was barely alive. But it was alive. And that was enough. I did not fall apart at the mansion. I waited until I reached my apartment. Then I locked the door, dropped my keys, and sank to the floor like my bones had disappeared. Mia's voice kept repeating in my head. I cannot marry a man who is always struggling. I pressed my palms against my ears. Stop, I whispered. Please stop. But memory never listened. For 3 days, I barely ate. I slept in broken pieces. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Mia standing beside Adrian, looking at me like I was a mistake she had outgrown. On the 4th morning, someone pounded on my door. Ethan, open up. I stayed silent. Noah hit the door again. I swear, I will call the landlord. Go away. Good. You're alive. Now open. I dragged myself up and unlocked it. Noah stepped inside and stared at me. You look like revenge chewed you and sadness spit you out. I'm fine. You smell like lies. I said I'm fine. He grabbed the curtains and pulled them open. Light cut through the room. I winced. What are you doing? Dragging a dead man back to life. I'm not dead. Then stop living like a corpse. I laughed bitterly. She chose him. Yes. In front of everyone. Yes. So what do you want me to do? Noah faced me. Breathe. Shower. Eat. Then decide who you are without her. I don't know who that is. Then meet him. His words stayed with me. At work, I moved like a shadow. I answered emails. I avoided people. I stared at the project folder I had once been excited about. Clara stopped by my desk. Ethan. I looked up. Yeah. You submitted the wrong file. Oh, that is not like you. I'll fix it. She leaned closer. Are you okay? I'm working. That was not my question. I looked away. She lowered her voice. You don't have to tell me everything. But don't bury yourself in silence. I almost smiled. Everyone keeps saying that. Then maybe everyone is right. The project was a small business software idea I had built after work for months. I had almost deleted it after Mia left. Clara pointed at my screen. This is good. It's unfinished. So finish it. I don't have the energy. Then borrow some of mine. I stared at her. She shrugged. I believe in useful things. This is useful. You are useful too, even if someone made you forget. For the first time in days, I worked. 1 week became 2. I ate again. I slept a little better. I still hurt, but the pain became quieter when I moved. Then my manager called me into the conference room. Ethan, this is Mr. Victor Hale. A tall man in a gray suit studied me like a test. He said, I reviewed your proposal. I swallowed. It is still rough. Rough ideas can be polished. Weak ideas cannot. I blinked. You think it is strong? I think it solves a real problem. Clara, sitting beside me, smiled. Victor tapped the folder. I want a full presentation by Friday. My chest tightened. Friday? Is that a problem? No. Good. Confidence matters. After the meeting, Clara followed me out. You heard him. I heard him scare me. He gave you a chance. What if I fail? What if you don't? That night, my phone rang. Sophie. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. Why are you calling me? Her voice shook. Because Mia is miserable. I closed my eyes. That is not my problem anymore. I know. I just thought you should know. No, Sophie. You thought I would rescue her. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Adrian is not what she thought. I knew that before she chose him. He checks her phone. He tells her what dresses look cheap. He told her not to call me because I am a bad influence. A sharp laugh left me. That sounds like stability. She cries, Ethan. So did I. Sophie went quiet. I softened, but only a little. Is she safe? Yes. Then I'm not going back into that fire. She misses you. She misses the version of me who would accept anything. That's not fair. No. What she did was not fair. I ended the call before my heart betrayed me. On Friday, I presented to Victor Hale. My hands shook at first, but my voice grew steadier with every slide. When I finished, Victor said nothing for a long moment. Then he asked, who else knows about this platform? My company. Clara helped refine parts of it. And the Cole Group. My stomach tightened. Cole Group. Robert Cole's company. His son Adrian is seeking investment from me. I felt the room tilt. Victor watched my face. You know them. They are family. Family can be complicated. That is one word for it. Victor closed the folder. Adrian's proposal depends on technology similar to yours, but less developed. I said nothing. He continued. If I support your platform, his deal becomes unnecessary. Clara glanced at me. Victor asked, can you handle that kind of pressure? I thought of me as tears. Adrian's smile. My ring sitting in a drawer. Noah saying I was not dead unless I chose to be. I straightened in my chair. Yes, I said. I can. Victor nodded. Then prepare. Power attracts enemies. After he left, Clara asked, are you okay? I looked through the glass wall at my reflection. For weeks, I had felt buried. Now something inside me moved. Not revenge exactly. Not forgiveness either. Maybe it was breath. Maybe it was life. Maybe it was the first sign that the man they tried to bury had started breathing again. And karma had placed a shovel in my hands. The question was simple and cruel. Would I dig myself free, or would I use that same shovel to bury Adrian's perfect little world first? I did not know the answer. I received Adrian's invitation Tuesday morning. It was not a text. It was an email with an address and one cold sentence. Family presence requested. I stared at it until Clara leaned close. Bad news. Adrian wants me at a business dinner. She frowned. Your cousin Adrian? Yes. The one who stole your fiancée and acted like it was a business merger? That one. Why would he invite you? I read the second line again. Mr. Victor Hale will attend. He thinks I can really impress Victor. Clara folded her arms. Does he know Victor already likes your project? No. Then why go? I looked at the screen. Because some doors only open when arrogant men invite you in. I bought a suit I bought. Not flashy. Just clean, sharp, and mine. When I arrived at the restaurant, Adrian was waiting near the entrance. His eyes moved from my shoes to my collar. Well, he said, look who finally discovered tailoring. I smiled. Good evening, family. His jaw tightened for half a second. Try not to embarrass me tonight. I was about to say the same thing. Before he could answer, Mia stepped out from behind him. She froze. Ethan. Mia. Her eyes searched my face like she expected the broken man from the mansion. I gave her nothing. You look different, she said. I feel different. Adrian placed a hand on her waist. She means you look less desperate. I looked at his hand, then at him. Careful, family. Desperate men notice desperate insults. Mia whispered, Adrian, stop. He laughed. Relax. We are all adults. Inside, Uncle Robert sat at the head of a private table. Aunt Helen sat beside him, quiet as always. Victor Hale stood near the window with two investors I did not know. Uncle Robert looked surprised when he saw me. Ethan, Adrian said you might come. I was invited. Adrian slapped my shoulder. I told him this was important for the family. Victor turned. Ethan Cole. I shook his hand. Mr. Hale. I reviewed your updated proposal this morning. Adrian blinked. Your proposal? Victor ignored him. Cleaner numbers. Stronger timeline. Clara's notes helped. They did. Good. Keep her close. Smart people are rare. I felt Adrian's fingers slide off my shoulder. Dinner began with polite smiles and hidden knives. Adrian talked loudly about expansion, luxury clients, and market control. Victor listened without smiling. Then Adrian gestured toward me. My cousin knows small-scale operations. Humble background. It gives him an interesting view. I lifted my glass. Thank you, family. Victor looked at Adrian. Ethan's platform is not small-scale. Adrian's smile stiffened. Of course. I only meant he comes from modest experience. Modest experience often creates practical solutions, Victor said. Your plan, Adrian, spends money to look strong. His plan solves a problem. Silence dropped over the table. Mia stared at me. Uncle Robert cleared his throat. Victor, Adrian's company has strong backing. Backing is not strategy. Adrian's face reddened. I spoke calmly. Adrian has always been confident. That is one thing I respect about family. Aunt Helen's eyes lifted toward me. She knew what I was doing. Adrian leaned closer. Stop saying that. Saying what? Family. But you welcomed Mia into ours. Mia's fork touched her plate with a small sound. I didn't know you would be here, she whispered. I know. Adrian snapped. Can we focus on business? At that moment, Daniel Price hurried into the private room with a folder. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was awful. Adrian stood too fast. Daniel, this is not the time. Daniel looked confused. You asked me to bring the revised event invoices. Uncle Robert frowned. What invoices? Daniel opened the folder. The engagement celebration, sir. The first booking was made 6 weeks before the public announcement, but the final version changed after Mr. Ethan was added to the guest list. The table went silent. My pulse slowed. Mia went pale. Uncle Robert's voice turned sharp. 6 weeks before? Daniel looked around. Did I say something wrong? Aunt Helen whispered. Yes, Daniel. You said the truth. Uncle Robert faced Adrian. You told me this began after Ethan and Mia ended. Adrian forced a laugh. Dates are messy. I looked at Mia. Were they messy? Tears filled her eyes. Ethan, I was confused. No, you were engaged to me. I know. And meeting him. She covered her mouth. Adrian slammed his palm on the table. Enough. She chose me. Why does timing matter? Uncle Robert stood. Because scandal matters. Adrian laughed bitterly. That is all you care about? Image. I care about the company you are about to poison. You mean the company I carried. Victor placed his napkin down. You carried arrogance, not trust. Adrian pointed at me. And you are trusting him? He was nothing until Mia left him. I stood slowly. No, family. I was quiet. There is a difference. Mia cried. Adrian, stop. But he was losing control. You think this suit changes you? He said. You still drive that old car. You still live in that box apartment. You are still the man she pitted. I felt the words hit, but they no longer entered me. Victor looked at Uncle Robert. I am withdrawing from Adrian's proposal. Adrian froze. You cannot. I can. Victor turned to me. Ethan, send my office your final documents tomorrow. We will discuss funding your platform directly. My breath caught. Adrian stared like I had stolen his air. Mia stood and reached for me. Ethan, please. Can we talk? I looked at her hand, then at her face. For months, I had wanted that apology. Now it stood in front of me, shaking and late. I stepped back. I don't need to talk to breathe anymore. Her tears fell. I left the room before anyone could stop me. Behind me, Adrian shouted my name. For the first time, I did not turn around. The divorce became final on a rainy Tuesday. Priya called me before noon. It's done. I sat in my office chair and stared out the window. That's it. That's it. No dramatic ending. She laughed softly. Most endings happen on paper. I leaned back. Thank you. You did the hard part. No, you did. Ryan, you survived it. Don't give me your credit. After we hung up, I stayed quiet for several minutes. I expected relief. I expected anger. I expected something dramatic. Instead, I felt calm. Not happy. Not sad. Just calm. A few months earlier, I would have traded anything to get Elena back. Now I just wanted peace. That realization surprised me more than the divorce itself. Later that week, Marcus stopped by my office. He looked around. Nice desk. It's a desk. It's a manager desk. I laughed. Daniel had promoted me 2 months earlier after the logistics project succeeded. The work was difficult, but it gave me purpose. For the first time in years, my future belonged to me. Marcus sat down. So what? You finally look human again. I look that bad. You look like a haunted refrigerator. I laughed harder. That's very specific. I worked hard on it. The laughter felt good. Natural. Easy. Not forced. Marcus pointed at me. See? What? That? What? You laughed without pretending. I shook my head. You're getting emotional in your old age. Don't change the subject. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Nora. I answered immediately. Hey. Good news. What happened? I found a place. The apartment. Near the river. I smiled. You actually found one? I told you I would. Marcus grinned. Tell her she's my favorite sibling. Nora heard him. Tell Marcus he's not family. He heard that. Good. A week later, Nora helped me move. The apartment was small but comfortable. A bedroom, a living room, a balcony facing the river. Nothing fancy. Everything mine. Nora stood in the empty living room. What do you think? I think this is the first decision I've made for myself in years. Good. She handed me a box. You deserve a fresh start. As we unpacked, she glanced at me. Any updates about Elena? I shook my head. No, that wasn't entirely true. I had heard things. Adrian's fake business had collapsed completely. Several investors were looking for him. He left the city shortly afterward. As for Elena, she lost the apartment because she could not afford the payments alone. Teresa stopped calling after the court confirmed the money transfers from our savings account. The facts eventually became impossible to defend. But none of that made me feel victorious. Strangely, I felt nothing. Maybe that was the real victory. Not needing their downfall to heal. A month later, Daniel invited me to lunch. You settling into the new role? He asked. I think so. You think so? I'm waiting for someone to discover I'm making everything up. Daniel laughed. That's called management. Good to know. He became serious. You've changed. Hopefully for the better. You stopped apologizing before every sentence. I hadn't noticed. I guess I did. You trust yourself now. His words stayed with me long after lunch ended. Trust. That was what Elena really took from me. Not just money. Not just time. Trust. The hardest part of recovery wasn't learning to stop loving her. It was learning to believe my own judgment again. One evening, months after the divorce, I returned home from work and found someone waiting outside my building. My steps slowed immediately. Elena. She stood near the entrance holding an envelope. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she spoke. Hi. Hi. She looked nervous. More nervous than I had ever seen her. I won't keep you long. I nodded. Okay. She held out the envelope. I know I don't deserve anything. I looked at it, but didn't take it yet. She continued. I just wanted you to know I regret it every day. The words hung between us. Not dramatic. Not desperate. Just honest. Finally, I accepted the envelope. Thank you. Her eyes filled with tears. I hope you're happy. I thought about the question. Then I answered truthfully. I'm getting there. She nodded. That's good. For a second, I almost asked how she was doing. Then I realized it didn't matter anymore. Not because I hated her. Because I had finally let her go. She stepped back. Goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye, Elena. I watched her walk away. Then I went upstairs. The letter sat on my kitchen table for nearly an hour before I opened it. When I finally unfolded it, her handwriting filled several pages. She admitted things she had never admitted before. She wrote that she loved the attention. She wrote that every lie became easier than the last. She wrote that she convinced herself she could keep both worlds forever. Most importantly, she wrote one sentence I read twice. Losing you taught me what loyalty actually means. I sat quietly after finishing. No anger. No tears. Just understanding. The letter wasn't asking for another chance. It was a confession. A final truth arriving too late. I folded the pages carefully. Then I walked to my bedroom. Inside my dresser was a drawer I rarely opened. The old photograph was still there. The first one. The picture that shattered my marriage. I placed Elena's letter beside it. Then I closed the drawer. For a long moment, I stood there staring at the wood. And I realized something. I didn't feel broken anymore. The next morning, I woke before sunrise and walked to the river. The air was cool. The water moved quietly beneath the first light of day. I stopped at the edge and watched the sky turn gold. Months ago, I thought that photograph had destroyed my life. But standing there, breathing freely for the first time in years, I finally understood the truth. The photo didn't destroy my life. It saved it. Then I smiled, turned toward the rising sun, and kept walking forward.